There are 26 unique pieces that go together to create the mini Kub Zag. We'll be showing you how to assemble this. It's important that you know what hardware is needed. You'll be given 4 3.5-inch bolts. There are 16 clips that hold the boxes together. There are 2 bolts for the top, and then there are 2 spacer bars, which I'll explain as we build. So Joe, I'm going to walk you through putting this together. If you have any questions after watching the video, you can certainly call me, but hopefully this is fairly straightforward. We're going to start with the base. This is the metal base. I considered doing it in aluminum for weight purposes, but frankly, what you give up in weight, you gain in strength. And so this thing will last forever. I'm not going to put all 4 legs in. I'm just going to show you that the legs do come out. They insert into the sleeve and then they tighten. These will remain inside here when it gets shipped, so you just need to place the wheels, the leg units with the wheels inside the sleeves, and then you're good to go. And then we can stand this up so that you can see what we're dealing with here. And just from an orientation perspective, there's an F here. That means front. This is the front facing of the audience. So this is the orientation that you will use to assemble the unit. So that very solid steel, and this has been powder coated. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the what I'll call the wheel covers. This was an enhancement that I introduced. This was not part of the original plan, but the idea being that finding an efficient way of dressing up the legs without attaching something permanently made a lot of sense to me. So what I did, what you have here are 45-pound magnets. These are very, very strong magnets, and this unit will actually go right on the front. And as you hear, it will attach quite forcefully and just pull up. And that way it's attached and ready to go. Do the same thing for the other side. Again, these magnets. And then to remove these, just be very careful when you remove them. The best way to do that is just to pull one side out and then pull the other side off. All right? So these will stay on even during the most rigorous performance. See how that dresses that up. And then on top of that, of course, goes the base. Here's the base, and this just slides over the uprights and fits very nicely on top. I'll reorient this to the front. So now you see, voila, the base is done. All right, the next is to assemble the boxes. We'll start with the bottom frame first. You'll notice that they're very unique connectors. These are composite connectors, and they fit directly in. You'll also note that there's a Roman numeral etched in the wood. That's a 2, that's a 2. That just tells you that's the orientation. Once these get placed inside, then we have these clips. And these clips go down into the slot, and you push them down so that they sit. Okay?
Show the clips.
That's very solid. Here's the clip right there. It's pushed down inside. Okay? And that's how you assemble the box. So I'm not going to take time on the video to show you each of the insertions, but I want to give you an idea. That's how you secure the box, and that's a very solid joint. Okay? Now that this box is put together, I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to place it here on the table. It's going to go right here, and I'm going to push it all the way. If you look inside, if you move forward and look inside, I'm going to push this so it goes all the way to the edge of that inside area here that's closed, that's open. So this is the orientation, it goes against right there. And then this gets flipped over the back. Now, these will be packed separately. They're Velcroed on. This is sewed onto the fabric, and then it's Velcroed onto an adhesive strip, which is Velcro, and we'll talk more about that later. So that's the first box. All right. And now we'll assemble the second box. So next, we're going to install the steel. Again, the bottom box is on the table. We've built the top box. It's sitting over there on the ground. If you look at these, one says rear, one says front. This is obviously the rear. This slides over and wiggle a little bit until it sits. Same thing with the front. This goes on top and wiggle a little bit so it's set. So now we have our steel in place. We're ready to put our top box on. You may need some help with this. It's not too heavy, not too awkward, but you simply be able to lift it up and initially just place it on top. I usually start offsetting it a little bit before I actually get it done. And then this is where I'm going to introduce the two spacer bars, because this is really important to facilitate the easy slide of the bottom. When we secure this to the metal, we want to be sure that there's space between the top box and the bottom box. So I'm now going to pull this back and slide it so that it's flush. Now, even with these connectors, there's a little play in the boxes, just a little bit. Nothing to worry about. It's still a very solid placement, but there will be a little bit of play, so don't be worried about that. And then you want to take, that play will go away once this gets secured. Now you want to take the spacer and you want to just put it underneath the ledge here so that you get that space between the boxes. You want to do the same thing on the backs of the other side as well. And again, this just helps facilitate the alignment, and it also gives you the space to slide the bottom back and forth without difficulty. Okay? And then the next thing to do is, of course, is to secure the 4 different pins. So we'll do that next. So I want to point out that the tolerances here are very, very tight, and that's so that this box doesn't do this. So I strongly suggest that once you align the holes, that you use a ratchet because it's a very tight fit, and then just take your time to get these seated properly before you place the wing nut and the washer on the other side. If you force this, if you hit it with a hammer, you're going to strip out these. So it's real important. The tolerances are very tight because I want a tight fit here. I don't want this to be moving up and down and causing conflict with the bottom box. All right, next thing, now that we're secure, we're going to place our lid on. And again, this was an enhancement. I believe it's an enhancement to hinge the top rather than have it a solid piece. That way it lays flat, and that's very easy to put on. So it's self-centering. And then we'll secure these with these shorter bolts, which are brass, and we'll secure those. And then the last 2 pieces that go on the frame are these covers. Notice that says front. Simply goes on here like this. There you go, nice and flush. And then these are held with magnets onto the steel. Okay, so we're all secure. So you're basically ready to go. Now, if you're storing this in a built condition, I would strongly recommend that you keep these in place. But obviously for performance purposes, you remove these. It just keeps this from weakening and causing problems and other issues, okay? For performance purposes, I would always start with the shield on. All right, this is the blade. The blade goes in one way. Notice there's a cliff here. On this side it's flush. In order to keep from having a problem with inserting the tube, you want to go with the flat side up. And this goes in very easily. And not the other side. Okay? So that's the built condition of the effect. Obviously the performance and the nuances on the performance are up to you. The black material here needs to be then attached. Pull this out. This black material, which is then velcroed here, needs to be attached underneath to another Velcro strip, which is right underneath and installed right there. Okay? That way when this comes out, notice how easy that slides. Then this is covered. All right? So that's the performance condition. Obviously I can put the tubes in, but you can do that as well. So that's the basic construction assembly of the effect.